Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you all are having an amazing day, guys. If not, hopefully I'll make it a bit better. And as you saw by the thumbnail and title, today I'll be showing you guys best drops or best weapons to put in your drops and best loadouts, class setups, and etc. Now, one thing that I always saw on YouTube, because I myself recently started playing Call of Duty and mainly I play Warzone. So yeah, this is the new game I started playing. I don't know, I really enjoy it, and I assume you do too since you clicked on this video. And yeah, like I was saying, I see a lot of videos on YouTube of people saying, oh, this is the best loadout, you have to use this is really overpowerful, oh blah blah blah, this and this and this. But like, the one thing that they're missing the point is that people have different play styles, right? And I myself used to think that as well. Like, I used to think, oh wow, this is the best loadout. I saw a super cool thumbnail, a lot of likes on it, so, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the best weapon in the game, and I started using it, and then I thought it was good, but then I found out another one because I made it myself, and it was even better. So then I started realizing that everything that people say isn't always true, right? Maybe it is true, but just for a different game style, you need a different weapon, right? And today I will basically be showing you what to take, and I'll recommend you how to find your perfect loadout for you, okay? So yeah, that's just the intro, and let's get right into the video then. Alright guys, so there's a lot of things that you should think of before choosing your ideal loadout, and one of them being, are you going to be playing more passive or are you going to be playing more aggressive in a match, right? Because if you're being more aggressive, there's no point of taking something like a sniper, right? You really want to take an SMG or like a really good close range AR that does a lot of damage. So the one thing you want to look at if you're playing a bit more passive is, like I said, you obviously want to have a sniper. I prefer the HDR. As you see for my loadout here, I'll show you my class setup for the HDR. I know there are better class setups, or not necessarily better, but there are class setups that make the sniper aim down sight faster. But personally, when I use the sniper, I don't really use it in a close range fight, right? It's usually long range, so I usually have that time to scope in, scout around, you know? So this class setup gives you the most accuracy, meaning you have the least bullet drop, so and the most range. But you see mobility lacks a lot. But like I said, if you're playing passive, this is the to-go sniper. One more thing, you could obviously switch out the scope. The only reason I use this scope, the variable zoom scope, is because it has the highest zoom on it, 12.6. You could also use the thermal, which is decently good as well. But I don't know, I feel like thermals aren't as good as they used to, because more people are realizing that you could use cold-blooded. And if you didn't know, if you use the cold-blooded perk, people won't see you with thermals. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is my class setup. You could go copy it, and like I said, if you want to switch some stuff out, you could put this stock, which would make it aim down sight faster, and mobility would be a bit faster. You could also take the muzzle off. The muzzle is just for a bit more range and sound suppression. Like I said, put on perks, anything you want, more ammunition. I wouldn't really recommend this, as this is just recoil control, and as you know, the sniper doesn't shoot super fast, so you have that time to manually reset your recoil. So yeah. Alright, so for the AR, for the more passive player, I would recommend the M4A1. You probably heard it, everybody uses it at this point, but my class setup is really good. I've experienced a lot of different class setups, and I find this one the best, like absolutely the best. It shreds mid-range, shreds close range, and it's just so easy to use. Like, I don't know why, but it feels so better than the other weapons. And these are my this is my class setup for it. I have the 60 round mag. Obviously you want to have a lot of ammunition. Maybe if you're playing solo, you want to use a bit less. It gives you a bit more mobility. But I usually play with my friends, so I like having that extra ammo in my magazine. I also have the Corvus Custom Marksman barrel. I feel like this is the best barrel because it gives you a lot of accuracy control and it gives you a bit more mobility. If you use the stock Grenader, As you see, accuracy gets reduced a bit, mobility gets reduced, you don't get as much control. So yeah, I just stick with this one. Gives you a lot of bullet velocity and recoil control, which is really important. And yeah, you could obviously, like I said, choose any of these barrels. I wouldn't really recommend going with this one. This is a really bad one. As you see, you barely get any range on it. Like an SMG is better than this one. So yeah, just choose between this one or this one. Just choose one. One of these are the best ones. Alright, and yeah, you could obviously take off the suppressor, like I said, from the sniper. It's the same thing, basically. Monolithic suppressors give you more range and sound suppression, a bit more accuracy. And yeah, this is my favorite scope right here. You could obviously use the iron sights. I used to use them, but I feel like the scope, like I said, is just more accurate. You hit way more shots with the scopes. It's just easier to see the players like below. If you don't know what I mean, when you zoom in with the iron sights, like half of the gun is covering the player sometimes and it's harder to see. That's why I think scopes are a bit better than iron sights. Don't get me wrong, like SMGs are perfect with iron sights because you're not going to use an SMG from like more than 20-30 meters away, right? Like most of your fights are going to be even closer. I don't have the stock and I don't have grip tape just because, like I said, I'm using the underbarrel and the scope. If I were to remove the scope and the underbarrel, I would probably put stipple grip for this and the no stock, because no stock gives you a lot more mobility. So yeah, that's really important. Alright guys, another option if you're more of a passive player is to rock the SMG and the HDR sniper again, or any other sniper you like. Like the snipers that you really want to be using is the HDR or the AX50. Like I said, I think HDR is a bit better. It's a lot more accurate, so you obviously hit shots more precisely. So yeah, let's go to the class setup of the MP7, and I'll tell you one thing, this SMG shreds. Like, this is by far the best SMG in the game. I don't know if you guys prefer more damage per second, like DPS, then the AUG is the better choice for you. But I'm telling you, just give this gun a chance, guys. It's literally the best floor loot weapon you could find, just the default. I'm telling you, if you get the off spawn when you land, it's really good. Obviously, you could change out the class setups. I chose a stock for this one because I don't have an AR for this class setup. I have a sniper, so a bit more range would be perfect. And yeah, I have the 60 round mag just because the more the better, right? You have more time to shoot instead of reloading. You could switch out the optic. You could switch out the barrel, although I wouldn't recommend switching out the barrel as this one is the most accurate one. The other two just give you a bit more mobility. Or this one doesn't even do anything. This is the worst one. I highly recommend not to use that one. This is the best one. This one if you want to have a bit more mobility. But yeah, I'd stick with this one, the FPS Recon. And monolithic suppressor, you could have probably guessed, gives you sound suppression and damage range, which is always helpful if you're not using an AR. I didn't put a grip tape because I'm using the optic. But if I was rocking an AR, as you will see in a class setup that I show you next, if I was rocking an AR, I would not use the optic sight because, like I said, SMGs don't really need optic sights as you use them in close ranges. So yeah, it's really easy to hit. And the default optic sights are really good as well, so that's pretty good. No perk, like I said, no underbarrel as well for this one. But yeah, this is a really good one, and you could check it out, try it out, tell me what you think. Alright, moving on is one of my more favorite setups that I use, and is really good as well. This is more towards the players that tend to rush a lot and get into gunfights a lot, and you'll see in a second why so. And the thing is, first gun I have is the CryRow 556, and this thing is a beast. Like, honestly, it is better than the M4A1 for longer ranges. The CryRow is definitely better for longer ranges. Like, if you're trying to shoot someone from like 50 to 80 meters, somewhere like that, the CryRow is definitely better because it does more damage than the M4 in longer ranges. And I have obviously monolithic suppressor, the Nexus barrel, and I really like this barrel because it gives you damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. The bullet velocity is the thing we're looking at because obviously if you're going to be a more aggressive player, you'd want to get the first shot on your enemy. So yeah, you want to get that damage range as well. And a second choice if you don't have the Nexus barrel or just don't want to use it, You could use the Archangel, also a really good one, but you lose a bit of mobility on this one, as you see. So yeah, that's why I don't really use it. And this one has better iron sights in my opinion as well. As you notice, I don't use the optic for this one because I want to use the underbarrel and the grip tape. I use the rubber grip tape, or whatever you want to call it. No perks. And yeah, you could obviously mess around with this. If you're trying to get an optic, remove the grip tape, as it just basically helps you with recoil control, and the recoil on this thing isn't even that bad. It's pretty easy to control it yourself. 60 round magazine. As you notice, I use 60, or the max amount of ammo that you could use for every class setup, as though it's just more useful. You don't have to reload as much. You could waste all your bullets and literally take down a full squad. Another option, guys, is instead of using the CryRow 556, you could use the exact same M4 class setup I showed you in the first one with the SMG I showed you in the last one. This is a really good combo. This is probably my most used combo. I just really like the M4. I'm telling you, I don't know, it's really good. This combo is really good. This you use in more longer ranges to mid ranges, and then when you're going into a building or just running from circle, you use this because people are going to be usually close to you. And if they're far from you, then just, you know, safely rotate and then decide what to do next. But yeah, I'm telling you, always, if you're playing aggressive, have this. A sniper isn't really that useful in solos, and it's because the sniper, it gives out glint first of all if you're using a good scope, but then if you're not using a good scope, or if you don't want to get glint, you're not going to use a good scope, right? Because there's no good scopes that give no glint. And the thing is, it's really easy to notice the snipers, and if you notice them one AR shot and their control is going to go so messed up, your screen is going to literally flick up and they're not going to have good aim on you. So yeah, like I said, I'm telling you, snipers aren't as good as you always think they are, especially in solos, because if you spot that glint, always take a shot at it. I'm telling you, I see most people running away, but just like crouch down, lie down, go behind a tree or something, and start spraying the guy. It works like magic. Like I'm telling you guys, they're gonna stop sniping you right away. You could even get the kill because they're so concentrated on sniping you that they won't realize that you laser them, right? And yeah, this is, like I said, literally my favorite setup. Another option, if you're a more passive player, is using the CryRow 556 with the exact same class setup I showed in the last one. Obviously, you could adjust it to your own likes. And the HDR, same thing goes to this. And I really like this setup because both of these weapons are more towards like longer range fights. So yeah, if you're trying to play passive, not trying to rush anyone, really good setup to have right here. Alright guys, and for the last setup, this is kind of like a bonus one. I wouldn't really recommend using this too much, but if you are trying to hit, like, you know, trick shots, quick scopes, whatever, this is the best sniper to do so. And I wouldn't really call it a sniper, it's a marksman rifle, the old Dusty. And I just put an M4. You could put whatever you want, SMG, CryRow, whatever you like. Obviously don't put an HDR there because that's going to be a complete waste. But yeah, I don't really have too much unlocked for this as I don't use it, but I definitely know that it's, compared to the other sniper rifles, it is the best one. It's the most accurate and does the most damage. It's a one headshot kill, so if you land that headshot, you will get it. Not as accurate as the HDR I showed you, but it's still a really good, really good. Alright guys, so that will wrap it up for the weapons part. Now I'm going to be talking about the perks you should use and the lethal and tacticals to put in your drops. Now this is what I always use for every single class setup. It doesn't matter which one. I always have these three things on. I always have cold-blooded on, and the reason for that is to be out of that thermal snipe range, you know? You don't want to be on that thermal radar, or not radar, like, you know, the thermal vision. People, it's so easy to spot people who don't use cold-blooded. It's super easy. So if you're trying to get less chances of getting sniped, use cold-blooded, because most people use a thermal sniper because they think it's the best, which I don't really believe it is, because like I said, it's even harder to see people who use cold-blooded. Like, it's actually harder to see them than without a thermal. For my other one, everyone carries this. You probably already know it's overkill. Basically allows you to carry two primary weapons, AR sniper, AR SMG. If you don't have this on, you're going to be stuck with a grenade launcher or a knife or a melee weapon, whatever you want to call it, So yeah, this one is definitely, there's nothing else to go through this. Like, you could use Ghost, but like I said, you want to carry the overkill. And yeah, for this one, if you don't want to use cold-blooded, if you're okay with being seen by the thermal sniper really easily, then use like double time or quick fix. Both of these are really useful. This one just increases your movement speed by 30%, and tactical sprint lasts a bit longer. And this one just basically starts healing you as soon as you finish a fight. Like, if you kill an enemy, it automatically starts rehealing your health. So yeah, both useful ones. I'd stick with the cold-blooded. For the third perk, I use the amped, and basically this one just gives me faster weapon swaps and rocket launcher reloads. Now, if you're a passive player and use the sniper a lot, definitely take this one, because the sniper takes a while to pull out. So yeah, tracker is a really good one as well. You could see footsteps for like a brief few seconds after an enemy runs, so you could know, like, if there's 4 doors, for example, he runs into one and you didn't see which one he ran in, you just look at the footsteps and they're going to be like glowing red. You just see where he went. You could throw a nade in there or whatever you want. And yeah, tune-up is a really good one as well. Reduces the charge of field upgrades by 40%. I guess, I don't know, like I said, I'd stick with this one. Still the best one in my opinion. And yeah, like I said, you could choose any of these to your own likings. One quick tip is to read right here. It says, briefly explains their use and what it does. And even if you click X, or yeah, show more info right here on some of them, it just gives you more information. And yeah, but be aware that some of these effects only work in Modern Warfare multiplayer, not in Warzone, okay? So just, if you're trying to select it, read what it says, okay? And lastly, for the lethal and tacticals, these are the ones I always carry as well. One thing, 100%, you always, and believe me guys when I say this, you always want to have this, the heartbeat sensor. This is like the most important thing out of all these. Like, you don't need the stim, you don't need the smoke grenade. This is the best thing. I'm telling you, the heartbeat sensor will save you and your games like 99% of the time. This, basically what it does, you could even view tutorial in all of them. This basically shows you on the radar where the enemy is. And if there's multiple enemies, it will glow green and show you the multiple enemies. It will even tell you how far they are from you. Now, be aware that the little meter thing right here, it's not in height or like what angle they're at. It just shows you how far they are from you. So if I'm on top of a building and he's at the bottom of a building standing right below me, it's gonna say 1 meter. It's not gonna say the height of the building, it's gonna say 1 meter. You see, as soon as he gets closer to him, it switches. So yeah, so it's basically like a 2D image from the top, like a bird's eye view of you getting closer to the enemy, basically. And this, you literally spot campers all the time. Like, the #1 problem in this game are campers, and this thing saves you a lot. So you always want to have that. If you, for some reason, are not smart and don't want to use this, use a smoke grenade, also really good. You could get out of really sticky situations, especially when there's like an open field where you can't run anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? Those times when you just have to rotate from zone or else you die, and then you just get lasered out of nowhere, right? Throw a smoke or two and just run around it, and the enemy won't see you, especially if you have cold-blooded on and they have a thermal, still won't see you, because if you didn't know, the thermal goes through the smoke grenades. So yeah, use cold-blooded and the heartbeat sensor. And for my lethal, I have the MOLOTOV. I don't know, I think this is the best one. Honestly, all of these are good except the throwing knives. I don't really think throwing knives are that useful. They're not even a one-hit kill. You have to hit an enemy twice to kill them, if they're full shields and health, that is. But yeah, I use this. I think it's a really good one. Basically what it does is makes a fire, like a little bit of area damage, circle of fire basically. And you just burn the enemy to their death. You could also use C4s, really good for taking down vehicles. Proximity mine, you could also set this up. There's not too much difference between proximity mine and claymore. I would stick with the proximity mine because claymore shows off like lights, right? There's like little lasers that come out, and it's kind of easy to spot that. But for this, you put it behind a door and people won't notice it as much. So yeah, I stick with the Molotov. I think it's really good, especially if you're playing with friends and you knock someone, you could like send it flying into the building or the window or whatever and just burn a lot. Like, you get kills really easily with this. It does a lot of damage. And yeah, like I said, choose your own thing, review all of them, and you will see which one's the best for you. Read what it says, and yeah, and you're gonna get the loadout you really like. Alright guys, and before I end this video, I quickly want to mention one more thing, and it is that no matter what loadout you take, always, and I mean always, look at this. Look at the damage accuracy, because look, if I change, for example, if I pull out the magazine, right, if I take it out, you see that it changed. And then if I want to put a different one, like the 50 round, you could see right here that it reduces my mobility and reduces my control, right? If I want to put the 60 one, you can see that my mobility goes even lower and my control goes even lower. So that's one thing to keep track of. Basically, you have to look at this. Like, don't watch videos and just copy exactly what they do. Think about how you want to play and how you want your gun to work. Do you want it to be a long range gun, close range gun? Do you want to have a lot of mobility? Do you want to have less mobility? Do you want to have more accuracy? You know, look at that. Like, this is the most important thing. And one more thing, most guns in the same class, as in like ARs, pistols, SMGs, do roughly the same damage. If one gun does less damage, that means that its accuracy, fire rate, or range is going to be greater. And if the gun does a lot more damage than another AR, then that means that its accuracy or control is going to be a bit more higher, you know, just to make it more even. So like I said, always keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on your accuracy, damage, and control, and you could literally use any gun you want. Like, if you want to use the FAL, go for it. Check it out, put new attachments on it, see which ones are the best. If you want to use the Kilo, do the same thing. Look, compare it to the other guns. You know, take screenshots if you have to, like if you can't compare. But it has there's a really good comparing system where you could select the gun. For example, I'll show you real quick. You wanna equip this. If I want to compare the Kilo to the M4, you equip the Kilo, you click here, and if you see, I go to the M4, and down here you can see that the Kilo has a bit more accuracy. It has a little bit less damage, just a little bit. This is what I mean. You see, there's not much difference in damage between Kilo and the M4. Same thing with range. There's not much difference. But the fire rate, the Kilo has better fire rate and better mobility. So you see, if you really think about it, the Kilo sounds a bit better right here, right? So like I said, just keep an eye out on the stats, and yeah, that's basically what I did to make my favorite loadout. And obviously, just try it out in game. Go into Plunder, make a few loadouts. If you didn't know, in Plunder you could switch through your loadouts. Like, you spawn in with the loadouts, go play it, check, fool around with it, see which guns you like more, and that's how you'll find your loadout. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to make a video clearing it up because, like I said, I've seen a lot of people making videos on, oh, best loadout, this is definitely the best drop, oh, this is what you have to use to win. And yeah, I just felt like that's not the right way to explain it. I hopefully explained it a bit better. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's going to be pretty much it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I'm going to be uploading a lot more Warzone content. Tell me in the comments section below if you have any further questions about loadouts, and I will definitely respond to you as soon as I can. And yeah, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.